Hello and welcome to another glorious read. I am your host, Aspen Sage. Let's get into it. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I know that last week I did not put a podcast out, and I'm going to tell you why. I was sick. I literally had this whole head cold going on, and to save your ears or whatever you listen to, um, from my whole congestion and weird nasally voice. So I was trying to save your ears. So at least when I was sick, though, I was doing some writing and some reading. And of course, because I had that free time, because I couldn't get through a conversation without sneezing and coughing, and of course, the runny nose was awful. So I got a lot of tea into me tea, honey, and lemon. And that seemed to be the once all cure all, luckily enough. And I know, like I said, I didn't put the podcast out, and I'm sorry about that. But I did do some reading. And of course, we're going to jump back into the Age Gap Mafia, Irish Mafia book series that I was reading. This one's called The Filthy Savage by Lilian Harris. And we are working, I think this is the third book. And this involves the third brother, the second brother. The next one's the third brother. Fionn and Amara. So basically, the story is in the end of the second book, with Tyne, they're getting married, having an actual wedding this time. And basically, Fionn stops a woman from being abused publicly, basically. She is a young woman. She's actually 19 in the beginning of the book. Her name is Amara. And when Fionn basically chases away her ex-boyfriend, she is like, struck with him. And he basically comes right out and asks, hey, I'm attending my brother's wedding. Do you want to join? And of course, she's like, you know what? Screw it. My life sucks anyway. Let's do something crazy. She ends up falling hard for him, and he evidently falls really hard for her too. Um, Again, Amara's 19 and he's like 32, I think, in the beginning of the book. Um, so there is definitely an age gap, and throughout like the beginning of the book, it's a lot of her wanting him and him wanting her, but they weren't sure if they should. So it was a lot of play where it was a lot of, I wonder if he's gonna kiss me. Wow, I wonder what she feels like, kind of thing. Yeah, you guys get the gist. So along the wedding, he basically introduces her to some of the family members, his older sister, his stepmother, of course, her father, or his father, correction. Um, and during this whole wedding, she finally gets up and she's like, I can't be like this right now with you, even though he's like, I want to be with you. So she wants to basically like, if you're not gonna show me how much you want to be around me, then I'm gonna go away. I don't belong here anyway. On her way back to her room that he got for her, um, he corners her in the elevator and basically they go into a kiss fest. And she finds out later that he actually has a room next to her, and she calls him some names, basically, like he's an asshole and stuff for basically getting her going and not following through. They end up having a one night stand. He's basically already treated her like a princess. He's fed her, got her clothes and jewelry, and offered her money. And they've only known each other for a few hours, and she's just like, he's coming on strong, but she's like, it's kind of nice because of how she grew up. So Mara basically had a really rough life. I feel bad for her because I know a few people who have had this situation. Um, and it's not pretty, where basically a family member doesn't want her. Actually, two family members don't want her, and her mother has basically lied and manipulated her. Her mother was a druggie, and she basically made Amara stop going to college, stop going to high school, get a job to pay basically for her lied medical expense, and of course that's wrong to do to a child. And her best friend Emily has basically stuck through her thin and thin, or thick and thin, and Amara actually uses Emily's name through this whole ordeal with Fionn. So she keeps saying that her name's Emily, and he keeps calling her Emily, even though her name's Amara. Well, after this one night stand, he wakes up calling her Little Bunny, and he realizes that she's not there. She's left him in the middle of the night. This man goes berserk. He basically goes to the security office. He's trying to look for the films, trying to figure out when she left, what place, where she went, what train or what airport. He does know that her name is Emily Daniels, is what she's told him, and that she lived in Boston. And he also lives in Massachusetts. So this man goes on a hunt for her. He tracks up every Emily Daniels that he can find. Of course, my whole thought through this book is he's going to find Emily Daniels, as in her best friend, and he's going to find Amara. And of course, my theory did not, as usual, got blown out of the water. So this whole trilogy is her wanting basically to find him, and him wanting to find her, and he being a Quinn, being part of the Irish mob, he is now obsessed with her. He is also the enforcer for his family, so his job is to basically shake down people. You owe that money, he's showing up. You don't pay, he's showing up. Basically, he is the one man that you do not want to come around if you owe the Quinns money or if you've done them dirty, because he's going to be the guy that shows up that basically be like, bye-bye, you're no longer needed to us. So yeah, he's a scary man, but to her, he is sweet as can be, and that's how she sees them. She doesn't know what he is or who he is or what he does. She just knows him as a older gentleman who is very kind to her. So like I said, Fionn is tracking her down, trying to find her every bit of the way. And of course, Amara is now stuck in a situation. She comes home. She's glad that she was able to experience this time with him, but she really misses him. She should have stayed. She's double guessing herself, but when she comes home, she finds out that her mother didn't watch her dog, and her dog disappeared. And then this whole thing with Amara, poor girl, she just goes downhill. She's very upset. And of course, Emily's there to support her every step of the way. And the poor girl is just, she doesn't know what to do with herself. So she's trying to find different jobs. And then Emily introduced her to two friends that she met in college, and they all kind of hit it off. And then something happens where Amara ends up pregnant, and she doesn't know if it belongs to her ex-boyfriend or Fionn's, because both of them use protection, even though she knows it's not 100%. But she got so sick that basically they found out that she was pregnant, and she had to get a different job. And then it was her basically growing to find a place of her own so she doesn't live with her mother. Poor girl is growing up way too fast for her age. I know some kids or now adults today who didn't have that childhood, and unfortunately for this character, Amara did not. So she ends up getting a second job and a third job. She basically told her mother, F you, I'm out of here. And she keeps thinking that once in a while she sees Fionn and she tries calling out for him. Not happening. So this book actually is quite quick pace until near the end. And then it's like a 5-year gap. Obviously Amara has the baby. She's growing a toddler. She's growing an actual kid. Fionn's still looking for her, but he's more like crazed now. He's obsessed. He won't do anything. And of course, during all through this, the Irish mafia meets Russian mafia, and of course, the guy that owned the club in the first book is like, hey, we really should join our families into marriage. And of course, first thing Fionn says, I got somebody. He doesn't know where she is or who she is. He just says he's got somebody. That leaves his younger brother to deal with the pieces. But That's gonna be the next book. I'm assuming at least. So yeah, Mara is working at this hotel who belongs to her friend's father. And during this cleaning of a room, the man gets shoved in, tied to a chair, and she's hiding. She's scared. She doesn't know what's going on. She just knows that these men are in this room and things are going down, but she hears a voice that's familiar to her. And of course, she's trying to pick pinpoint it, but she knows who it sounds like. And she peeks around the corner and sees Fionn. But she said basically says to herself, he doesn't look the same as she remembers because he's got a very twisted look. Obviously, he's shaking the guy down. He's trying to get money, and basically, he kills the guy in front of her, even though he doesn't know she's there. Um, During this whole fiasco, she can't believe who this man is. He's not the same man she knew. She wanted him originally in her child's life, and now she's like, no, I gotta protect my kid. So she makes a run for it. His guys hear it, and they're like, hey, it's a woman. We gotta find out who she is. Of course, they go to the security office, and he pinpoints who she is, and then he goes to shake her down. He doesn't look at the security footage who the woman is. He just gets the name and the address, and he's gonna go. Well, he's like, I hate to do this to a woman, but he goes, I gotta go clean up the loose end. As soon as he gets in her house quietly, she hits him over the head with a Tupperware container, and like I guess stuff goes everywhere. And he's like, "Oh, that's cute." Like she knew I was coming, but it's still cute that she tried, you know, stopping me. As soon as she speaks, he knows who it is, and he calls her Emily. And then all of a sudden, you know, he flicks on the light and sees it's her, but she's older. She's like, I think 24, 25 now. And he's like, oh. And he's like, now that I basically have you, I'm not letting you escape. The man's obsession with this woman is like so high point. Like, I thought Devlin and Ariel was bad. Where obviously he was her bodyguard, and like he wouldn't let anything happen to her. And of course, Tyron and his wife, where he basically kidnapped her to be his wife, you know, the teacher. This guy has a new level of obsession. Like, he, as soon as he sees her, he goes, basically, he's like, I don't care if she has a husband, she's mine. I don't care if she's got a boyfriend, she's mine. I don't care who he's got to shake down, she's mine. She's coming home with me. And she's like, I'm never going anywhere. I go away, you know, I won't tell a soul what I saw. And he's like, oh, honey, it's too late for that. You're coming with me. And all of a sudden, you know, he hears the mummy voice of the little girl, and he's like, honestly, like, dumbfounded because he's like, there's a child here. And then he's like, who is, you know, are you married and stuff? And she goes, no, like, it's just my little girl, let me go see her. And as soon as Fionn sees the little girl, he knows instantly that it's his. Like, he's like, I don't even care if like biologically it's he's like, no, mine. This man collects things like a dragon with a hoard. Like, he's just like, this is mine, this is mine, I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna keep this. Yeah. He basically is very silly with the little girl, very calm and nice. And of course, Amara's not sure about it because he originally came there to kill her. So she's like, I don't know what you're thinking, but this is not going to work. I'm not going to say anything. We'll disappear if you want us to. And he's like, oh no, no, honey, no. You're coming with me. She's now mine. You're now mine. And basically, they go into a wham bam fest. And she's like, oh wow, I haven't had this in a while. Like, she's still obsessed over him, but she's like, this is not healthy. I know it's not right, but I can't stop enjoying it. So basically, he's like, yeah, we're getting married tomorrow. And she's like, excuse me. And he's like, yeah, you've had 5 years of disappearing on me. There's a little girl. He goes, you're marrying me now. And she's like, you're crazy. And basically, he tells the little girl that he's mommy's best friend. You know, they haven't seen each other in a long time. And the little girl's so cool about it. And she's like, you're so silly. And then she's like, oh, you're marrying my mommy? Cool. Like, she's such a 5-year-old that like the real world does not like comply to her. She's just like, yeah, it's good. Okay, so you're my new daddy. Um, so basically he gets married, and of course their father comes around, or his father, and she's like, they're like, oh my god, we haven't seen you in ever. Where have you been? You know, we've been worried sick. She's like, of course, my name's actually Amara. She comes clean to the family, and they accept her with open arms. And of course, the dad's not quite happy. Not so much that she's part of the family now, but the more the fact that Fionn didn't tell him that they were getting married, kind of like his older son did. He's like, looked at his youngest, and I laughed at this part. He's like, you better not pull this bullshit. Like, if you get married, I better be fucking knowing about it. Like, yeah, he's such an old man that he's just like, don't do this to my old heart, okay? Okay, I want to see at least one of my kids actually get married the right way. Like, why do you guys keep capturing women and then like marrying them behind closed doors so I don't know about it? Like, are you afraid I'm gonna object? So he goes on basically this whole like, I think a spiel of like, why do you people do this to me? Um, so it goes on, and they're like all cool about it. Amara's little girl's I'll call it, and her name's Fia, because she thought pretty much he was Fionn. And she starts breaking down her walls, telling him about her past, telling her about the dog that she lost. And of course, this man goes into a frenzy going, okay, you lost your dog? I'm on it. He's like, oh, I'm going to go to work. And she goes, what kind of work? You know, and he's like, not that kind of work. I promise. Um, he goes to her mother's house and basically shakes down a guy and shakes down her, trying to find out where the dog went. And then he finds out that it's her ex-boyfriend that he wanted to kill in the first place, who had the dog removed. Um, he goes to the ex-boyfriend's house, grabs him, shakes him down for a little bit. They go to his cousin's house. And lo and behold, there's the dog. And of course, the cousin's like, what did you do? And he's like, it's so Mara's husband. He's crazy, man. Like, um, and of course, is like, talking to the dog and, robbing him. And he's like, what do you think? Should we let him go? And the dog barks like a very joyous golden retriever, just happy that there's a companion, and he smells Amara and he remembers Amara's scent, even though it's been this long of a gap. Of course, Fionn's like, oh, no, I'm not going to let you go. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Basically, ends Amara's ex-boyfriend, ends the cousin because he was involved. He knew he was doing wrong. And as soon as basically he comes home to Amara with the dog, Amara says it's like the best day of her life. And then he's like, I shot your mom in the foot. Your ex-boyfriend's dead, by the way. And she's just like all of a sudden like breaks down, like, why would you kill people for me? Don't do this. He's like, you don't understand. They hurt you. What in turn hurts me, what hurts the family, and I got a reputation to keep. So basically, because they hurt you, they don't deserve to breathe another breath. Like I said, this man's obsession with this woman is on point. I love it though. So there's basically more that comes on. There's a whole family tree that needs to be chased because something about Amara's actual mother is not her mother. Then she finds her father, who's not actually her father, finds out that she has a brother who's not her brother. And as in these books, there is a family betrayal or a betrayal of some kind. And it ends up being one of her best friends. I'm not going to tell you who. And it's because of a jealousy thing. It's literally because the girl grew up in her shadow without realizing it. And Amara's like, no, you don't have to do this. You don't have to end my life because of this thing that happened. We can grow together. I'm so happy that you found me and all this stuff. And basically, the girl's like, no, you see, you don't understand. We've been friends for so long, but I'm not going to let you go because I deserve not living in your shadow anymore. Lo and behold, this whole situation happens, and it comes to a thing where Amara actually finds her real family in the end. And then there's a party. She's pregnant again. Of course, Fionn's the father. And yeah, that's how that book review goes. Spice level, I give it a 4.5. The whole book level, 5. It's a definite read. The whole series great, really. You need to read him. Um, and yeah, the next book is about Killian, so keep out it. Thank you guys for listening in. I hope you have a wonderful day. Do something new, and I'll catch you again next, or actually this week. But have a great one. Thank you, and bye bye.